why you here, huh? Yeah, but
French Quarter Management District.
He's got a proclamation at 9:30. Okay. Jerusalem was supposed to, but I don't know what happened to that.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to ask representatives of the Blood Center to come forward, or whoever might be here. And thank you all for the work that you do. I'm Councilman Eugene Green, and to all who are watching or watch later on taped broadcast, I appreciate your watching today. This is to celebrate the fact that regional leaders are declaring January of 2026 as Blood Donor Awareness Month. A lot of the need was identified after the French Quarter terrorist attack, but it's important to know that the need for blood donations is ongoing. There's never going to be a time when there's not going to be a need. So in response to the January 1st terrorist attack, leaders across Southeast Louisiana came together to proclaim January 2026 as Blood Donor Awareness Month. It will be celebrated, if you will, across 13 participating parishes, including Orleans Parish. It's important to know a couple of statistics. One is that 250 blood donations are required each day to meet the needs of area patients. And thanks to the generosity of volunteer donors, the Blood Center, which is the region's nonprofit blood collection agency, year-to-date, 51,392 blood components have been delivered to area hospitals and clinics. And Orleans Parish hospitals have required thus far 20,136 of those blood components. So our three most vital medical facilities in the state are located here in New Orleans. The University Medical Center, which is Louisiana's #1 trauma center, which required 10,156 blood components over the past year. The Manning Family Children's Hospital, which needed 4,576 blood components, and the Veterans Administration, which needed 1,117. So EMS responders depend on a readily available blood supply for life-saving transfusions through critical pickups, for example, gunshots and other trauma cases. And the Blood Center operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And in my newsletter, we will advertise the phone number. But if there is a desire to write down that phone number for everyone who is watching, the 24-hour live answered hotline is 1-800-86-BLOOD, B-L-O-O-D, 1-800-86-BLOOD. And I thank you all for being here today. I hope I didn't take away much of the thunder by reading the press release, but I wanted to make sure that everyone heard what was being mentioned, especially in terms of numbers. So if you could identify who's with us at the table, thank you for the work that you do. Very important work.
Yes, my name is Misty Fry, and I'm the mom of O'Brien Fry and an advocate.
Good.
I'm Susie Potter, Community Development Manager for the Blood Center.
I'm O'Brien Fry, go to school at St. Stephen's.
Good.
And I'm Abel Fry, the father of O'Brien Fry, and I'm an advocate myself.
Good. I bet the Frys have a story that you'd like to share with us, but go ahead. You.
So I want to just thank you, Councilmember Green, also Councilmember King. I know you firsthand understand the need for blood donations. My son was battling cancer for 3.5 years, and he had to receive several transfusions and platelets, and honestly, he wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for people donating blood and platelets, because there were times when he just couldn't receive chemotherapy if he didn't have a blood transfusion. So this is something that's very dear to my heart and very dear to my family, because I'm blessed today because my baby is sitting here, and it's because people in the community, like everyone sitting here, has the power to donate blood or tell someone to donate blood, even if you can't donate blood, because it is life-changing and it's life-saving, and it just, I can't explain what it does for families such as myself. And as you can see, when we had the terror attack on the 1st of January, the need for blood was great, and we had to have it. We couldn't wait, so we have to have it every day, and we have to educate, because like my son, when he was in the hospital, he was waiting. It was ready for him, and for that I'm grateful. And I'm grateful that we are making this a month of awareness. Thank you, but we have to do this every day.
Right. Thank you for emphasizing that. Yes, while we celebrate a special month, Blood Donor Awareness Month, as I mentioned in the statistics, there's a need every day.
Right.
So I appreciate that. Mr. Fry? Pull it closer to you so we can hear you. Okay.
On behalf of the Fry family, and the Blood Center, we was just asking that please donate 2 times next year, in 2026.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I appreciate you saying that. Councilman King, before I close out with the proclamation, would you like to add anything?
It's important to give blood, and it's a blessing that your son is here, and we will continue to amplify the need for blood donations, and you are truly blessed. So,
Thank you. And would
Can
you
I
like
say
to
just
yes,
one more thing?
absolutely, on behalf of the
I've been with the Blood Center for 40 years, and I mostly work with kids battling blood disorders. And I have been with Abram since he battled this leukemia. And one of the things that's a joy, at the end of treatment, they get to what we call ring the bell. And behind that bell is a plaque. And I'm going to have Abram read to you what that plaque says. Loud.
Ring this bell 3 times well. It's told to clearly say, my treatment's been done, this course is run, and I'm on my way.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the Blood Center for what you do. Councilman King and I are going to come forward in a second, and it's for the photo purpose, but whereas a safe and adequate blood supply is vital to the health and well-being of our community, saving countless lives each year through transfusions needed for surgeries, cancer treatments, trauma care, childbirth, and chronic illnesses. And whereas volunteer blood donors are essential to maintaining this life-saving resource, generously giving of their time and compassion to help ensure that the blood supply is available whenever it's needed, wherever and whenever. Whereas every 2 seconds, someone in the United States requires a blood transfusion, yet only a small percentage of eligible donors give blood each year, creating an ongoing need for general community participation. Whereas the residents, businesses, schools, and civic organizations of New Orleans have long demonstrated a spirit of generosity, compassion, and civic responsibility by supporting one another in times of need. And whereas encouraging blood donations from amongst New Orleans residents helps strengthen our local healthcare system, supports hospitals across the region, and contributes to the safety and resilience of our communities. And finally, whereas the City Council of New Orleans recognizes the extraordinary contributions of volunteer blood donors and calls upon all citizens to participate in this life-saving act of kindness. And let's look at the challenge that Mr. Fry has given us today. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the City of New Orleans that New Orleans City Council recognizes Blood Donor Awareness Month. Again, January of 2026, but as another example of the failure of that terrorist to alter our lifestyle. In some respects, he has helped us come together to recognize the need for blood donations, and I encourage our viewers to recognize what was said today by our presenters. Thank you very much. Join me in the front for a proclamation, presentation, and photo, and I appreciate the work that you do, and I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you.
Didn't get to say what I wanted to say. Oh, well, let peace be government.
So the only thing that we have today is this motion under suspension.
Okay.
I'll try to see if we have a set time or when it's going to be taken up, but that's for the NSA, so there's a couple talking points. Jeff Schwartz will be here in case anyone has any questions.
All right. All right.
Councilmember, we can also proceed for information purpose on the presentation, and then we just need 4 minutes.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. We're going to start our quarterly French Quarter Economic Development District meeting. We only have 3 council members present, so we will start with just informational purposes only, and we should have a 4th member when it's time to do the actual voting. What's up?
Roll call. Councilmember King,
Here.
Councilmember Green, Councilmember Jeruso is here, and Councilmember Morrell is here. We have 4 members. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, Ms. Cooper.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for having us here this morning. I would actually like to start with a moment to celebrate the renewal of the quarter-for-the-quarter sales tax, which is in effect for 5 years and generates revenue to support public safety and the quality of life programs in the French Quarter. That tax is voted on by the residents. 87% of the residents that voted to approve the tax, so it's a clear mandate to proceed with those programs that have been funded in the past. I'd also like to thank Councilman King and his staff for their support of this as we approach the tax renewal and his support of the constituents in the French Quarter. So imagine the conversation we'd be having if that tax did not renew. We wouldn't be here to talk about how to support public safety and quality of life in the French Quarter. You've seen this slide before. This is the Cooperative Endeavor Agreement between FQEDD and FQMD to provide oversight to these programs. This is actually supported through the CEA by a group called the Agreement Monitors, which is the leadership of FQMD, the leadership of District C, the leadership of the Councilman at Large's office, and leadership of NOPD. So I want to report the year-to-date results for the FQEDD Trust Fund through October. You can see the revenue and expenses and the percentage of the budget that was approved last year by this group. And the key performance indices for the Supplemental Police Patrol are outstanding. This program is the foundation of the FQEDD Trust Fund and how a majority of the money is spent. You can see that we have far exceeded the KPIs, and since no good deed goes unpunished, we will probably be increasing those KPIs going forward so that we can accurately reflect the results of this program. I want to acknowledge Sergeant John Castellan, who runs this program. He's been responsible for these incredible results under the leadership of Captain LeJean Roberts and now Captain Palumbo. These are some additional KPIs for the supplemental police patrol. You can see our average for quarter 3, which is what this report reflects, compared to 2024 monthly average and the program total year to date. In addition to public safety through the supplemental police patrol, we support some unhoused programs and have in the past supported the TASNO case managers. You can see here the results for the third quarter of 2025 compared to the 2024 monthly average and the program total year to date. We're going to be talking about these programs as we go through the budget for 2026. And then Covenant House is another program that is very impactful in the French Quarter, particularly through the Super Bowl. There was a tremendous amount of work that this organization did to rescue youths that are at risk. Again, see the 2025 Q3 numbers, compare the 2024 Q3 numbers. So at this point, I want to mention one other program that was supported by the French Quarter Economic Development District funds, which was the streetlights. We could have included that in this presentation. Late in 2024, this group approved accessing $1.75 million out of the FQEDD Trust Fund to repair and replace streetlights in the French Quarter. Had a tremendous impact not only for the Super Bowl, but following the Super Bowl. The majority of that money was spent in the first half of 2025. There's about $200,000 left that we will be allocating through March of 2026 to finish that work. Does anyone have any questions about the third quarter report?
Councilman Harris, did you have any?
No, I want to talk about the 2026 homelessness money once you get there.
Okay. All right. Someone who is supporting this, I need the 2026 budget pulled up. And we are here today, hopefully, to approve the 2026 budget for the French Quarter Economic Development District.
Well, that's being pulled up. Can you talk about, as a result of all the successes that you've had, how has that impacted the quality of life of residents and businesses in the French Quarter?
Well, particularly in the area of crime, it's had a tremendous impact. Not only do we fund the supplemental police patrol through the FQEDD tax dollars, but through the state appropriations and other funding sources, we fund a sheriff's office, deputies, post-certified officers that integrate with NOPD to make sure that we have enough officers on the Bourbon Promenade and throughout the French Quarter. And FQMD just approved additional funding for state police to be integrated into our law enforcement. So really, for the first time ever in the French Quarter, we have what we all see as integrated law enforcement, which has been a goal for many, many years. And that is driven in large part through the funding through this tax.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry. It's okay.
Any other questions before I jump into this? Great. Okay, before we get to 2026, a couple of things about 2025, which of course is not over yet. The total revenue coming in through this tax will be just over $4 million. The expenses that were budgeted for 2025 were over the revenue that was expected. So as we go into 2026, we all realize that the budget is just a roadmap. You can see at the top that we have budgeted tax collections of $3,750,000, conservatively a little less than what we expect to collect or that we will collect in 2025. And then, once again, this budget has expenses that are greater than the projected revenue. The FQEDD board has a bit of a problem with projecting a budget that has a deficit, but in this case, because we have over $3 million still in the trust fund balance, we're comfortable that these programs need to be supported by the expenses that we're projecting. So if this budget is approved by you today, it will actually draw down the trust fund balance by $443,210.29. As we've said, the bulk of this revenue goes to support the supplemental police patrol. So the total budgeted here is $3,133,997. These figures come directly from NOPD and the Chief Administrative Office here of the city, who is also part of the Agreement Monitor Group. Then we have, we've done a lot of work in 2025 on signage, particularly on Rampart Street and Decatur Street, and then street markings throughout the French Quarter. And we intend to take some of this money in 2026, $175,000 to be exact, and continue that work. Then we have some reoccurring expenses, many of them, again, related to the supplemental police patrol, many of them recurring budget items from 2025. We are buying another vehicle because the vehicles have a limited lifespan. So the total of those expenses are $258,625. And then for the other public safety programs, you can see there unhoused support for $310,000. That includes 3 programs: the mobile crisis unit, 6 beds in the low barrier shelter, and a case manager through the TASNO LEAD program. Then license plate readers and ongoing maintenance of the French Quarter cameras. We eliminated graffiti abatement from this budget in order to get closer to a revenue expense match. And then we want to continue to fund Covenant House given their performance in the past.
So, Ms. Cooper, not to cut you off, but I think everyone is ready to proceed. But we did have some questions before we did vote. But
sure,
you had to read through the whole budget.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper. And I just want to talk about the third shift on the mobile crisis intervention unit. How do you imagine that goes? Do you imagine they're just stationed in the French Quarter until they get a call?
Well, this is a program that NOPD has voiced very strong support for in their efforts to tackle this program. So once it's approved, Councilwoman, we will then work out those details of exactly how to integrate. And Dr. Avegno and I exchanged some emails this morning.
Yes, I was copied on this.
Right. So we have a little bit of work to do on that.
It sounds like there's work to do on the low barrier shelter beds too. I know you want to have 6 dedicated beds from the French Quarter with a price tag of around $24,000 each. We need to get some agreements worked out between Odyssey House and the city in order to do those reserve beds, because right now it's first come, first serve, with some state dedicated beds. So there's that as well.
Right, agreed.
And then on the reduction of traveler's aid, they've been successful in the past, as you know. So I just worry about reducing their outreach worker to 1 versus 2 that you have currently in favor of MCIU. But I'm happy to help Councilmember King if he wants my help, and you all to figure out the details.
Great, we would really appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, I think any more comments or questions? Is we good? None? All right, I'll make a motion to adopt the budget. Second by Mr. Burnside. I'm sorry, I didn't get your card.
My name is Michael Eric Burnside, 2215 Felicity. I'll very mildly support my council person with regards to the homeless outreach. It is good that there is homeless outreach. I read the newspaper. I understand there was some controversy over the nature of the homeless outreach efforts. What I can say is that if you're doing $24K a bed, that's $2,000 a month. You could rent an apartment for that. So I'll leave it at that right now because I am grateful. I realize that there are people in the larger community that would rather there be no homeless outreach. So I'm sure that when people are buffeted by different words, they come to some sort of compromise. So I'll be careful with my words, but I will say thank you for having homeless outreach. I will say that it is extremely roughly, not quite 10% of the amount of money. So thank you for that, and hopefully the people that are on the other side of the issue might consider a generosity of spirit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Burnside. So the motion has been moved by me.
Councilmember, I need to read the motion into the record first.
Yes, ma'am.
We have motion M2502 by District Member King, a motion approving the district's annual budget for the year 2026 as approved by the French Quarter Management District on Monday, November 17th, the full budget with amendments Exhibit A.
And we have Mr. Christian Pennington, who also submitted a card in support.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here. For the entire council, thank you for continuing to serve. And for those of you that were reelected, congratulations. And those who are moving on to the next thing, good luck. We're all counting on you. I did just want to say that I think we can all say now that the French Quarter is better today than it was a year ago. And that is because of your support and our working together, our two organizations. There is no question that the French Quarter is safer today than it was a year ago. There is no question that we have devoted more money to continue to work with homeless issues in the French Quarter, and we will continue to do that. We're just looking for new ways to have greater impact. We will continue to work on the sanitation and cleanliness of the French Quarter. The residents, the businesses, the employees, I have 205 employees at Brennan's. It's easier to hire now because of the safety and cleanliness of the quarter than it was a year ago, to your earlier question. Yes, there is room to grow, but I thank you all for your continued support, both as a business leader and someone who sits on the board of FQMD, and I'm confident that we can continue to work together. Councilman King, I appreciate you and your staff's continued efforts to help us navigate the ever-changing world that is New Orleans and Louisiana. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. All right, motion made by me, second by Councilmember Green. 6 yeas, no nays. Motion is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do we need to have a motion to adjourn? So I'll make a motion to adjourn, second by Councilmember Green. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Councilmember, if you're ready, we're ready to begin.
Thank you. Go right ahead, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Morrell,
Here?
Councilmember Moreno, Councilmember Giarrusso.
Here.
Councilmember Harris, Councilmember King, Councilmember Green, Councilmember Thomas. We have 6 members. We have a quorum.
All right, first up, we have the prayer by Bishop Brandon Boutin.
May we all stand for a moment of prayer, please? Dear God, our gracious Father, how we honor you, how we adore you, how we thank you for the many blessings you have bestowed upon us, God. We thank you for the opportunity to come together to reason and to meet. Father, we ask now that in this meeting that you would bless this council, continue to crown them with wisdom and knowledge as only you can give. God, we pray for today that everything that's said and done will be done in peace and will be done in unity, God. And we ask all of these blessings now. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, we have the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Eugene Green.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right, before we get started, I want to take a moment of personal privilege to lay the ground rules. As you walked in, there was a sign explaining what the rules are for the New Orleans City Council. I appreciate your signs of the appropriate size and appropriately. If you fill out a comment card, it has to be on an item on the agenda. We do not have a public comment period. If that comment is not germane to the item on the agenda, I will cut your mic. It's that simple. I do appreciate everyone being here and exercising your constitutional rights and your rights as public citizens, but those are the ground rules of the New Orleans City Council. Like I said, they're on the door when you came in. That being said, Madam Clerk, we're ready to go.
Consent agenda. Communication from Aaron Spears. This should be marked received. On top of page 2, we have a communication from Cynthia Davis, 1822 through 1824 Frenchman Street. This should be marked received. Hearing date December 18th. We have a communication from Cynthia Davis, from Cynthia Davis. 1709 Murray Street. This should be received. Hearing date 12/18. We have a communication from Elizabeth Home. This should 2400 Napoleon Avenue, 2400 Napoleon Avenue LLC. This should be marked received. Hearing date 12/18. We're on top of page 3. Communication from Matt Torrey. This should be marked received and referred to the Governmental Affairs Committee. We have a report of Lene S. Crowley. This should be marked received. We have a report of Romy S. Samuel. This should be marked received. On top of page 4, we have a report of Michael J. Swaye. This should be marked received. We have ordinance calendar number 35,298 by Councilmember Harris, 2300 to 2302 South Liberty Street, 2224 through 2226 Phillips Street, 2229 through 2237 First Street, zoning docket 5125. We have ordinance calendar number 35,299 by Councilmember Harris, 1316 Prytania Street, zoning docket 5225. We have ordinance calendar number 35,300 by Councilmember King, 4500 Woodland Drive, zoning docket 5425. Those are all the matters on the consent agenda.
Thank you. Mr. Burnside, I assume you had a card?
Michael Eric Burnside, 2215 Felicity. So the first thing I'd like to touch on very briefly is CURO. The City Utility Regulatory Office, of course, regulates Entergy. It also regulates AT&T and technically Cox Cable also, I suppose. There is, of course, the problem at the corner of Felicity and Magnolia, where since 2018, I've been coming before this and the previous body pointing out that it would be very nice if a city-owned traffic light was moved so that a cable owned by one of the utilities could be moved so that a rotted pole could be removed. Hasn't been done. The next thing I'd like to touch on is the Audubon communication, which provides us with a budget. Unfortunately, I've not read it, but I have read various Time-Picayune articles about the situation out there on the Governor Nichols Wharf and the Esplanade Wharf, where it was stated in the Times-Picayune that we have supplied $55 million for basically what boils down to a very expensive pickleball court on the river. We're paying $30,000 per linear foot. I would like to thank Councilperson Giarrusso. I am in possession of a document which tells us that the purchasing fee for the RAND note was $379K, and the cost of issuance was $344K, and they're summed up to approximately $750,000. That seems to not include certain costs, including outside bond counsel, but I could be wrong in that opinion. Given that the Audubon Institute has given us their budget and has admitted that they're spending $55 million of one-time money of the city to make that nice out there, you might consider subpoenaing the previous Chief Administrative Officer, Gilbert Montano, for a discussion, given that you have subpoenaed previous administrative officials. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Burnside. All right, we have Brittany Carey, or Carew. If I mispronounce your name, please feel free to correct me. Brittany Carew, Carey. There you go.
Hi, I'm here.
Ma'am, you have to state your name and your address for the record.
Okay. My name is Brittany Carey. My address is 421 2nd Street, New Orleans, Louisiana. And I'm asking City Council for ice-free zones, make all city-owned property ice-free zones, and prohibit ICE and DHS from using city property to stage their operations. No collaboration with ICE. City Council must pass ordinances that codify non-collaboration between the City of New Orleans and ICE, including all of its offices.
As I stated previously, that is not germane. Thank you for your comments. Adam Pettislow. Adam Pettislow. Please remember to state your name and address for the record.
Adam Pettislow. Address is 2621 Gallinghouse Street. I'm here today because I'm demanding that we have ice-free zones in the city that prohibit ICE and
Thank you. That is not germane. Next comment. Next up is Hakeem Morel.
Good morning, Hakeem Morad, 719 South Salcedo. Good morning again. I'm here to talk on item number 4 on page 7, and it's in regard to specifically use of zoning, and I believe that ice-free zones should be incorporated, even if you...
Next up, we have Mitch Gonzalez.
Just like I...
Mitch Gonzalez. Mitch Gonzalez. Mitch Gonzalez. Sir, you've been here before. If you cannot follow the rules, then you can leave. If you cannot follow the rules, we will suspend public comment if we cannot follow the rules. You're welcome.
My name is Mitch Gonzalez, and I reside at 4025 Vincennes Place, New Orleans, Louisiana. All of the addresses that are up on the agenda set up for permission in public safety to demolish are right near the constant notifications coming up on my phone. We delivered a letter to City Council on November 21st. I'm part of the Southeast Dignity Not Detention Coalition. We requested a meeting. This should be on the agenda. It should be on the agenda. Public safety is at the heart of this. Public safety is at the heart of this, not just for undocumented, but for the entire city of New Orleans. Guys, please, you have to do more than just put out a notice and tell people to carry their passports. Please. Little kids are not going to school right now. People are not able to take their disabled parents to their medical appointments. Please, I'm begging you. I don't want to shame you. I want you to meet with us and do more than what's being done. You know that you need to do more to protect us. And right now, it's about the safety of the people who live here. But I promise you, if these people are planning to stay here for 2 months and take as many as 5,000 of the people who live in the greater city of New Orleans. And they're the people who work here. They're the people who clean dishes here. They're the people who take care of the elderly in the nursing homes. They're the people who have the children who go to school here. And the people who are taking their children to school. The kids are saying, when will I see my friend again? Will I ever see
Lou DeMarco.
I'm not making
Lou DeMarco.
I wouldn't come here just to disrupt business as usual if it wasn't a matter of a humanitarian crisis. Please, I'm begging you, please, listen to us. You need to do more. We're doing everything we can. People are organizing food drops. People are taking kids to school. People are taking the healthcare appointments. People who work 2 and 3 jobs. We are doing everything with very little. You all have a lot more than us. You have more power. You have more resources. Please. Right now, it's a humanitarian crisis. It's going to be an economic crisis. Please believe this will affect you. This will affect every business in New Orleans. Because if people don't pay rent, which is what's happening, they can't go to work because they're living in hiding because they're afraid of being snatched up and sent to torture centers, of which we have 9 in this state. Okay? And that's what's going to happen. I'm not doing this to disrupt you, I promise you. I'm not doing this to attack you. I'm begging you to listen to me. If these people don't pay rent, those landlords don't get their money. 5,000 people, they don't get their money, then those landlords. People will not buy groceries right now. The grocery stores will suffer. The businesses will suffer. This city lives on hospitality. Who do you think washes all the dishes in those restaurants and restaurants?
All right. At this time, I move to suspend public comment on this item.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Green. All in favor? Seven yeas, no nays. Public comment suspended. Motion to pass the consent agenda. Second, moved by Councilman Harris, second by Councilman Green. Please vote your machines. Please vote your machines. This is the one. 7 yeas, no nays. It's passed. Yep. We're on recess.
Happy Thursday, everyone.
All right, let's go back into session. We have already dispensed with the consent agenda, Madam Clerk, so we can go to the regular agenda.
Yes, sir. I have a communication from William L. Mazzell, Stone Pigment Walther, Whitman, LLC. This should be marked received. Hearing date set for 12/18. We need to suspend the rules to receive this communication.
I'll move. Second by Councilmember Green. Seven yeas, no nays.
We need to further suspend the rules to add it.
I'll move. Second by Councilmember Green. All in favor, voice vote. Aye. 7 yeas, no nays.
We have another communication under suspension. We have a communication from Zachary Smith, owner Zach Smith Consulting and Design, 5326 Britannia Street. This should be marked received. Hearing date set for 12/18. We need to suspend the rules to receive it.
I will move. Can I get a second by Councilmember Green? Second by Green. All in favor say aye. Aye. 7 yeas, no nays. Suspended. I will move to add to the agenda. Second by Councilmember Green. All in favor say aye. Aye. 7 yeas, no nays. It's added to the agenda.
We're on page 6 of the regular agenda. Item 628 Jefferson Avenue, Yvonne Casalot. This has been deferred to 12/18, as well as Resolution 25601 has been deferred to 12/18. On top of page 7, the hearing of the 2026-2030 Capital Improvement Plan has been deferred to 12/18. We have a legislative grouping, the extension request of Eureka Agalis, Certified Occupational Safety Specialist, Licensed Arborist, requesting an additional extension of time in which to record plans for conditional use for zoning docket 4720, ordinance number 28,443 MCS pursuant to 4.3.H.1 and 4.3.H.2 of the comprehensive zoning ordinance for property located at 2420 through 2430 Willow Street and 2837 Second Street. We have motion M25607 by Councilmember Harris, granting the applicant's request for an extension of property located at 2420 through 2430 Willow Street, and 2837 2nd Street until October 19, 2026.
I moved. I need a second. I don't have a card, Mr. Burnside.
For Willow Street?
Yeah, I don't have a card.
Well, I turned
If you want to speak, you can speak.
Thank you. So Mr. Burnside's mind is quite gone, which is good because he's got 2 minutes to get it back, or at least a minute and a half. With regards to 2420 to 2430 Willow Street, the zoning docket, of course, is number 47/20. So the zoning docket of 47/20, of course, means that it was at least 5 years ago when this was provided to an original council to consider. So I'm not sure how long the extensions are going to run or how many extensions are going to be required. But I happen to be suffering a lawsuit in a different court, and delay is not always pleasant. So I don't know how much more delay we need for this particular building. The current owner, which is not the originating owner, might sort of need to turn it over to yet a third owner who actually has some money to deal with it. My opinion on the matter, thank you very much.
Thank you. I've moved. Seconded. 6 yeas. Thank you.
It's 7-0, Councilmember. We're on top of page 8. A legislative grouping, the HDLC appeal of William S. Vincent Jr., requesting to appeal the Historic District Landmark Commission's decision of denial of a second-story addition to an existing one-story double for property located at 821 through 823 4th Street. We have motion M25-608 by Councilmember Harris, overruling and approving the applicant's request for property located at 821 through 823 4th Street.
Thank you. Eleanor, can you brief us on the report?
Thank you. 21 4th Street is a circa 1870 Creole cottage that first appears on the 1883 Sanborn map. The applicant has submitted several proposals for a rear second-story addition at the property. The Architectural Review Committee has recommended conceptual approval of 2 of those proposals. However, the most recently proposed rear addition was deferred by the ARC at the August 19th meeting. The ARC stated that the 2 bedrooms at the front of the Camelback should be removed so the overall massing is smaller, citing that the most recent proposal overwhelmed the historic structure. The applicant is requesting an appeal of this ARC recommendation to allow this proposed second-story addition to be further forward on the building. The staff agrees with the ARC and recommended denial of the appeal. Staff also recommended that the applicant pursue one of the 2 previously approved 2-story additions.
Thank you, Eleanor. I rarely overrule the HDLC, but the neighbor is bringing this property back into commerce by adding this addition and has overwhelming neighborhood support. Are there cards on this issue? All right. 7 yeas. Thank you.
Of the page, we have the at the bottom of the page, we have the HDLC appeal of Zeller v. May. This has been deferred to 12/18. We're now on top of page 9. Legislative grouping, HDLC appeal of Joseph Maxfield Vincent, attorney at law, requesting to appeal the HDLC decision on October 17, 2025 of a second-story addition to an existing one-story residence property located at 911 Jackson Avenue. We have motion M25-598 by Councilmember Harris, overruling the decision of HDLC and approving the applicant's request for the property located at 911 Jackson Avenue.
Thank you, Eleanor. Will you brief us on the report here?
915 Jackson Avenue is a contributing rated building located in the Lower Garden District Full Control Local Historic District. The ARC and Commission routinely review and approve Camelback additions to historic shotgun and side hall cottages. The HDLC stipulates that these additions should be set back at least 2 original rooms back. This regulation exists in order to maintain a reasonable portion of the historic structure, protect the architectural significance and character of the historic streetscape, and promote additions that do not overwhelm the historic resources. This applicant is seeking to place the Camelback addition only 1 original room back. This proposal does not meet the HDLC design guidelines for additions and will result in the demolition of approximately 78% of the roof. The HDLC works very hard to meet owners where they are and approve additions to historic structures that allow adaptation to meet modern programmatic demands. Requiring that a minor portion of the historic structure remain intact is not too much for the Commission to request. The HDLC respectfully requests that the City Council uphold the ARC recommendations and the Commission decision.
Thank you, Eleanor. Again, sorry to overrule you, but this neighbor has been working with HDLC for several years, including various design options. They finally settled on this one, which has drawn support from the neighborhood. I move to adopt. Seconded by Council Vice President Moreno. 7 yeas.
At the bottom of the page, we have the legislative grouping HDLC appeal of Douglas Corn, J.W. Drennan, LLC, Construction Services, requested to appeal the Historic District Landmarks Commission's decision of denial of the demolition of a contributing rated 1-story multifamily residential building to grade for property located at 2831 Levada Street. We have motion M 25-599 by Councilmember Harris overruling the decision of HDLC appeal.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Eleanor, will you brief us on the HDLC report?
2831 Livaday Street is a contributing rated single shotgun house located in the Irish Channel Full Control Local Historic District. The building, purchased by the current owner in 2020 for $249,000, was inhabited until very recently. The recently published transient lodging study requested by the City Council noted the following: it is the very exceptional community character in New Orleans that drives the tourism industry and increases demands for STRs. For this reason, protecting community character must come first. Community character is derived from the vibrant mix of modest and grand vernacular architecture that survives in our historic districts. The continued destruction of authentic historic structures and their replacement with historicist new construction undermines the exceptional community character that the City of New Orleans must maintain to ensure its long-term economic viability and livability. At their meeting of November 5th, 2025, the Commission reviewed the inspection reports and staff recommendations. The Commission voted unanimously to approve the demolition of all but the front 2 rooms of the historic structure. The HDLC has approved renovations of and additions to countless single shotguns located in the local historic districts, many of which were in far worse condition. The continued demolition of New Orleans' vernacular, modest building stock erodes the architectural character, authenticity, and significance of our economically and culturally diverse neighborhoods.
Thank you, Eleanor. I greatly respect HDLC, but in this case, the demolition is appropriate here. There are very few original elements to this building. It's in very bad shape, including floor rotting, other rotten elements. So I'm going to move to adopt. Need a second by Councilmember King. 7 yeas.
We have the HDLC appeal of 3513 Charter Street has been deferred to 12/18. The HDLC appeal of 3517 Charter Street has been deferred to 12/18. On top of page 11, all matters. The HDLC appeal of 3521 Charter Street has been deferred to December 18th. The zoning docket 4925 has been deferred to 12/18. Zoning docket 5025 has been deferred to 1218. On top of page 12, zoning docket 5525 has been deferred to 1218. We have a legislative grouping, zoning docket 5625, Almanesta Investments LLC, requesting a conditional use to permit a gas station in a C1 General Commercial District, the entirety of Square 873 in the 3rd Municipal District, bounded by Almanesta Avenue, Port Street, North Pierce Street, and North Roman Street. Municipal address is 1841 Almanesta Avenue. The recommendation of the City Planning Commission being for denial. We have motion M25606 by Councilmember Green denying the applicant's request for zoning docket 5620.
We have a City Planning Commission report.
Yes, this is a request for a conditional use to permit a gas station in a commercial, C1 General Commercial District. The property is currently developed as a shopping center with 3 stores, one of which the applicant proposes to renovate into a gas station retail store. There were many deficiencies that came in with this application, which prompted our staff to recommend deferral twice. At both City Planning Commission hearings during which this case was heard, the CPC heard a lot of opposition from the neighborhood, citing concerns about traffic, noise and light pollution, safety, the inappropriateness of a gas station at this location, and the overconcentration of gas station in that area. The applicant was not present at the CPC hearing and never provided the required additional information to our staff. And therefore, while members, during that time, a lot of members of the community attended the Planning Commission meeting twice to voice their opposition. Therefore, the Planning Commission recommended denial of this application.
I appreciate the members of the community who expressed clearly their opinions relative to this matter. What is a bit disappointing is that an applicant turns in applications, misses deadlines, doesn't provide corrected plans when asked for, and doesn't respond to staff requests. I support the City Planning Commission staff, the work that they do, and it's important to recognize that the City Planning Commission's recommendation for denial comes after significant analysis of the application, and I comment on the intent of the applicant. You've got to do better. So with that, I move for denying the applicant's request and for upholding the City Planning Commission's request for denial. I move. May I have a second? Councilmember King seconds. Members, please vote your machine. 7-0, and the request is denied. Thank you very much. Thank you, City Planning Commission, for the time that you've invested in this. I regret that the applicant did not reply.
We're now on top of page 13, all matters. The legislative grouping, zoning docket 5825 has been deferred to 1218. Motion M25602 has been deferred to 1218. Legislative grouping, zoning docket 5925 has been deferred to 1218. Motion M25603 has been deferred to 1218. On page 14, all matters. Legislative grouping, ordinance calendar number 34,385 has been deferred to 1218. M23426 has been deferred to 1218. M23427 has been deferred to 1218. On top of page 15, legislative grouping, all matters, 35,000, ordinance calendar number 35,093 has been deferred to 1218. Motion M25254 has been deferred to 1218. Ordinance calendar number 35,103 has been deferred to 1218. On page 16, ordinance calendar number 35,117 has been deferred to 1218. Ordinance calendar number 35,127 has been deferred to 1218. Ordinance calendar number 35,133 has been withdrawn. On top of page 17, ordinance calendar number 35,280 has been withdrawn. Ordinance calendar number 35,284 has been deferred to 1218. Ordinance calendar number 35,302 has been deferred to 12/18 and referred to the Governmental Affairs Committee. On top of page 18, ordinance calendar number 35,303 has been deferred to 12/18 and referred to the Governmental Affairs Committee. Ordinance calendar number 35,304 by Councilmember Green by request. An ordinance to approve and authorize the City of New Orleans by and through the New Orleans Aviation Board to enter into a lease agreement at Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport with GAT Airline Ground Support, Inc., and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
This is an ordinance to authorize the New Orleans Aviation Board to enter into a lease agreement with GAT Airline Support Incorporated to lease a facility at 163 South Firehouse Road and Middle Access Road in Kenner. The New Orleans Aviation Board staff recommends approval to enter the lease consisting of a ground-level office warehouse facility for a period of 5 years. I have no cards, and so I move for adoption. It's been seconded by Councilwoman Leslie Harris. Members, please vote your machines. And with that 7-0 vote, 35-304 passes. Thank you.
At the bottom of the page, ordinance calendar number 35,310 has been deferred to 12/18. On top of page 19, ordinance calendar number 35,311 has been withdrawn. Ordinance calendar number 35,312 by Councilmember Thomas by request. An ordinance to authorize the mayor of the City of New Orleans to enter into an amendment to the subrecipient agreement between the Chief Administrative Office and Orleans Parish Communication District to continue to facilitate the Fire Station Alert System project and to extend the subrecipient agreement term for 14 months as more fully set forth in the form as Exhibit A and made a part of and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Fire Station Alert System, part of an overall alerting system. And this is by request. This system will be used to help the fire department. It's a 34 fire station. It's a no-cost extension. And if there are no questions, I'll move approval and adoption. Seconded by Councilmember Giarrusso. All in favor?
Aye. Well, yes.
7 yeas, no nays. The matter is adopted. Thank you.
At the bottom of the page, ordinance calendar number 35,313 has been withdrawn. On top of page 20, ordinance calendar number 35,314 has been withdrawn. Ordinance calendar number 35,315 has been withdrawn. Ordinance calendar number 35,316 has been deferred to 12/18. On top of page 21, ordinance calendar number 35,317 has been withdrawn.
Ordered.
Ordinance calendar number 35,318 has been deferred to 12/10. Motion line over M25-182 has been deferred to 12/18. On top of page 22, all matters, motion line over M25-183 has been deferred to 12/18. Motion line over M25-184 has been deferred to 12/18. Motion line over M25-186 has been deferred to 12/18. On page 23, all matters, motion line over M25-187 has been deferred to 12/18. Motion line over M25-189 has been deferred to 12/18. Motion line over M25-235 has been deferred to 12/18. On page 24, all matters, motion line over M25-236 has been deferred to 12/18. Motion line over M25-238 has been deferred to 12/18. Motion line over M25-239 has been deferred to 12/18. On top of page 25, motion line over M25-288 has been deferred to 12/18. Motion line over M25-435 has been deferred to 12/18. Resolution R-25-600 by Councilmember Thomas, a resolution urging the Port of New Orleans and the Harbor Police Department to produce a formal report on the status of the investigation into the disappearance of Darius Clement.
For folk who are not aware of this, Mr. Darius Clement was missing from working on the port and at the port and in the river quite some time ago. His family has been out there asking for questions. They've been standing at the entrance of the dock, and in many cases just asking the port and the state to do an investigation, a thorough investigation, to give them some answers about where their loved one is. So I would hope, and I think I know that this council would stand in solidarity to forward this resolution towards the port, asking them, please do not overturn any or every stone, at least so that we can bring this family some closure. So with that, I would move adoption.
Can I be added as a co-author, please?
Well, everybody really should.
Thank you.
On this, yeah. Councilman Harris, yeah, this is one that is not just me. This is something that I think we should all stand with them. And I would hope at some point the port board and the port and the state would stand with them too. Second by Councilmember Harris. Vote your machines.
So, council members, we're adding all?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Okay. It should have been all on it in the beginning. 7 yeas, no nays. This is done. Thank you. Bless you.
On top of page 26, Resolution R 25604 has been deferred to 12/18. We have Resolution R 25605 by Councilmember Green by request. Resolution providing preliminary approval and authorization for the issuance of not to exceed $300 million of New Orleans Aviation Board revenue and refunding bonds in one or more series to pay off and discharge the Series 2024 bond anticipation notes, to finance capital improvements at the Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport, and providing for other matters in connection therewith.
This is a resolution to allow the New Orleans Aviation Board to issue general revenue bonds. It's important to note that under state law, the New Orleans Aviation Board is authorized to issue bonds in its own name and under its own credit. The New Orleans Aviation Board's credit is separate from the city's. So in this instance, the New Orleans Aviation Board is looking to issue $300 million of general revenue bonds in one or more series. The general revenue refunding bonds will be used to finance the cost of additional capital improvements, to pay the debt for the Series 2025 bonds, and to provide for other matters. I have a comment card from Mr. Burnside.
Michael R. Burnside, 2215 Felicity. In previous interactions, Councilperson Green has offered a chance to talk with me at some point, maybe next week, about the airport, so I'll try not to mess that up too much. What I will say is pretty obvious, which is I believe currently that the advantage that the airport has is that their bonds are actually tax-free. And the reason they're tax-free is that it's not owned by a private corporation, it's owned by a city. So while they do have their own credit, and they are issued under their own name, we provide them a material service. I would also point out that this bond is a refinancing, and I will point out that earlier we discussed the costs of financing. So as we've basically refinanced balloon payments, banks become richer and richer and richer. So I don't doubt that debt is a useful tool. I don't doubt debt is a useful tool to large businesses, to cities, and to human beings who love credit cards. But I really want to emphasize that it's not free, that we do pay for that. And if the payment's hidden, then we can pretend it's not there, but it's still there. And the more than 50% of the operating budget of our airport goes to servicing current debt. Now, some of that pays off principal, some of that pays off interest, but some of that pays off these various financing costs. And we don't really know. But we come in here and we argue about small amounts of money sometimes, like, for instance, the homeless in the French Quarter, talking $300,000. I will bet you that the reissuance of this is going to cost taxpayers who fly in and out of that airport more than $300,000.
All right. Well, do you wish to?
I appreciate, before we go, I just want to appreciate the fact that, as Mr. Green said, the airport money, because of federal law, is separate from the city money. Airport money cannot be used anywhere else but in the airport. And I want to be clear to the public, so when there's an equalization of this cost could be used there or that cost could be used there, it's self-contained, which also means that the airport's debt and everything related to the airport is also contained within the airports. The city is not spending money on the airport. Just that clarification. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. 7 yeas, and the matter passes. Thank you.
We're on page 27. The special order of business will be deferred to a later date. We have motion M25-609 by Councilmember King by request, adding the President of the Council as a signatory to the agreement between the City of New Orleans and the NSAEB 603 LLC, and authorizing the President of the Council to sign agreements between the City of New Orleans and NSAEB 603 LLC. We need to suspend the rules to receive this.
Make a motion to suspend the rules. Second by Council President Morrell. Voting machine. 7 yeas.
We need to further suspend the rules to add.
Make a motion to add the rule, suspend to add. Second by Councilmember Harris. 7 yeas.
And now we need to vote on it.
Move. Second by Councilmember Harris. 7 yeas.
Council members, we need to suspend the rules to go to ordinances on first reading.
Second by Councilmember
Green.
Ordinance on. Ordinance on first read. Ordinance calendar 35,320 by Councilmember Green by request. An ordinance to approve and authorize the mayor of the City of New Orleans acting by and through the New Orleans Aviation Board to enter into lease amendments to the airline airport use and lease agreements with a signatory airlines operating at the Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport under circumstances in which a solicitation and selection process is not required by law and otherwise to provide respects thereto. Ordinance calendar 35,321 by Councilmember Harris by request. An ordinance to authorize the mayor of the City of New Orleans to enter into Amendment Number 1 to a previously executed cooperative endeavor agreement between the City of New Orleans and the Healthcare for the Homeless Advisory Board, represented by Antoinette Joyner, chairperson, relative to a cooperative endeavor agreement in support of the City Healthcare for the Homeless program desired to modify the provisions of the CEA and to extend the term thereof for an additional 5 years as more fully set forth in Amendment Number 1 in form attached hereto is Exhibit A and made part hereof and otherwise to provide respects thereto. Ordinance calendar 35,322 by Councilmember King. An ordinance to provide for a designation of public property with a specified area of the City of New Orleans as a temporary special event clean zone during the period beginning at 6 a.m. Monday, April 13, 2026, and ending at 6 p.m. Monday, April 20, 2026, relative to the use of public areas in conjunction with the 2026 French Quarter Festival, and during the time period beginning at 6 a.m. Monday, July 27, 2026, and ending at 6 p.m. Monday, August 3, 2026, relative to the use of these areas in conjunction with the 2026 Sacrament Summerfest, and relative activities and events produced by the French Quarter Festivals Incorporated to provide for temporary prohibition of certain commercial activities and special event clean zone unless approved, sanctioned, and authorized by the city as set forth, and sponsors as defined below. Special event permits, if and applicable, to provide for the establishment of one or more public participation areas, to provide for the establishment of fines and penalties for violation of this ordinance, to establish a special event clean zone within the area bounded by the area generally bounded by the east bank of the Mississippi River, Orange Street, Chapatula Street, Callio Street, Rampart Street, Esplanade Avenue, including Waldenburg, Riverfront Park, Spanish Plaza, Louis Armstrong Park, Crescent Park, and the Louisiana State Museum, New Orleans Jazz Museum at the Mint, Governor Nichols Wharf Park, in the airspace above the specified boundaries, and otherwise with respects thereto. Ordinance calendar 35,323 by Councilmember Jeruso. An ordinance to amend and reordain Section 34-1 and 34-3 of the Code of the City of New Orleans to require that a number of flow riders be included in the Carnival Parade permit fee and otherwise to provide respects thereto. Ordinance calendar 35,324 by Council Members Jeruso, Morrell, Moreno, Harris, King, Green, and Thomas. An ordinance to respond to the current budget challenges facing the City of New Orleans through a temporary prohibition of spending any funds received from the Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans, American Rescue Plan Act, Council of the City of New Orleans versus Edward Wisner donation, case number 2022-06765, Civil District Court of the Parish of Orleans, Wisner litigation, or any other new sources of revenue and otherwise to provide respects thereto. This is all matters on first read.
I made a motion, seconded by Councilmember Thomas. All in favor? Aye. 7 yeas, no nays.
Everybody have a good weekend. What's happening, Uncle Noonan? You all right, Bob? Yeah. All right. Bless you, brother.
Okay.